The crypto market is bouncing heavily right now after Trump made this post on Truth Social saying a U.S. crypto reserve will elevate this industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which is why my executive order on digital assets directed by the Presidential Working Group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve will include XRP, Solana, ADA. Let's go. I will make sure the U.S. is the crypto capital of the world. We're making America great again. Now, and obviously he followed up with this saying Bitcoin and Ethereum and other valuable cryptocurrencies will be on the heart of the reserve. He also loves Bitcoin and Ethereum. If Trump is saying ADA, Solana, and XRP, well then that's literally telling us what altcoins they're planning on kickstarting altcoin season with. And so those of you guys that saw this dip as an opportunity to accumulate some XRP are being rewarded right now. Even if you bought XRP, if you didn't catch the low at $1.95 or like $2, even if you got some at $2.20, you'd be up over 20%, 30% right now. Now, I do have a warning for you guys as well too on the short term because, a lot of retail are going to come back in the market and they're going to FOMO in right now. And while this is bullish for these projects long term, in the short term, you have to know how to look at key indicators like this. For example, on the hourly for XRP, the relative strength index is at 87 right now on the hourly in overbought conditions. Now, it doesn't mean on the macro, for example, if we zoom out, like on the 2 hour, we need to look for confluence here. And there's confluence, it's at 87, overbought conditions. So let's go to the 4 hour and then let's go to the day. It's at 82, so overbought conditions. Now let's go on the daily. The daily, however, is not over 80. It's at 60 right now. But the key to understand here is we've been in a downtrend on the relative strength index since the 2nd of December. And right now we are at this descending resistance right here on the daily for the relative strength index. And with this massive green candle coming in off of this news right here, in my opinion, unless there is back-to-back bullish announcements over the next few days, we need to see XRP close above this critical zone of resistance right here and hold it as support. If this doesn't happen, well, then the RSI could potentially get rejected from this descending resistance right here. So on the macro, yes, accumulating XRP down at these levels, incredibly smart move. Now, a lot of people that are coming in and accumulating XRP right now on this bullish news, these are the types of people that get wrecked constantly, guys, because they wait for bullish news like this instead of subscribing to the channel and watching what I'm sharing with you in these videos to understand how to read the charts like this and look for the best possible entry points when key indicators are in oversold conditions. For example, look at Cardano as well too. On the 2 hour right here, the RSI is all the way upwards of 90, the highest that it's been since the 10th of November. And usually on the average, when we see the relative strength index, on whether it's the 2 hour, the 3 hour, 4 hour, or the daily, see on the daily right here, the RSI is at 69. So the more that we zoom out, the more oversold that the indicator is going to be, just because we've been selling off since the 4th of December. But if we zoom in, if you want the best possible entry points, personally, I'm not entering into Cardano right now because I would expect this to pull back within this range right here. We did clear the resistance of like 83 cents. As you guys can see, it was support all the way back here on the 20th of December, right here as well too, at the beginning of January, the middle of January and the end of January, and then we broke the support right here, then we treated it as resistance. So when these levels flip, there's support as like the floor of the house, resistance as the roof of the house. When the support gets hit multiple times and breaks the floor, now it acts as the ceiling. And so we can see resistance right here. And so Cardano was getting slapped back from 80 cents within the zone of resistance. And then with this news right here, it pumped it right through it. So we raised the roof, and now it's going to act as the floor again. And so if Cardano comes back within this level, we would want to see this hold before continuing higher. So personally, I'm not entering into any Cardano right now just because on the 2 hour, the relative strength index is at 91. If we zoom out here on the 4 hour, we're at 88 right now, overbought conditions. Now on the daily, we are at 69. Sure, we could continue higher in the short term, but we can even see if I just clear the chart right here, this candle is already pulling back from a high of $1.15. So we got rejected from this resistance right here on the 6th of January and the 17th of January. So now the most likely scenario for Cardano, XRP, and ADA is to just range. And we want to see this level right here hold as support at roughly 80 to 83 cents. And so for the next few days, I would expect these cryptos to range, potentially sell off a little bit, unless some more bullish news comes into the market. But this is the most bullish news that we can get from Trump about XRP, Solana, and ADA. And Solana is pumping as well too. We saw Solana break this descending resistance right here. Now, I do have a warning for you guys as well on Solana, because when the tides rise, so do all ships. With these three projects, look at the relative strength index on the hourly here. It's at 85. So in the short term, we are in overbought conditions. We are also coming in contact with the support that is now resistance from the 20th of December, the 23rd of December. You guys can see here as well too on the 13th, 14th of January. Wicked off of it on the 3rd of February as well too. And you see when we consolidated at it for a bit and then we broke it, now we're rallying back up into this zone right here. So unless there's more bullish news that comes in to pump Solana up above this range right here to hold it as support, what I would expect is for Solana to range alongside this descending resistance to come back down for a higher low, and then more liquidity to get injected into the market to do something like this. And so what I would want to see is I would want to see the RSI come back down a little bit, because as you can see, there's this ascending support right here. So I would expect the RSI to come back, anywhere between 60 to 70 for Solana, and then to put in some type of higher low. It would be great to see it hold this descending resistance if we don't hold where we're at right now and we see a further sell off to the downside. Because right now, if we look at total 3, the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin, compare it back to the past, we saw this happen before. I brought this up in previous videos and I said, watch guys, this support right here is going to act as a strong level of demand that gets bought up. And that's exactly what we saw happen. Similar to what we saw happen back here in December of 2020. Now, we saw this bounce from right here. We also saw a bounce on the relative strength index of 37. And on the left-hand side of the screen, the RSI bounced at 31. So we were in more oversold conditions than we were back in 2020 going into 2021. And this consolidation phase that we're going through right now is longer than this consolidation phase. So there are some key differences here. However, there are some similarities as well too. And the main similarity is that when we break a previous range high of resistance right here, it then acts as support. So we break a previous range high that was resistance, and then it acts as support right here. And it acts as support right here. So what we're going to go through, in my opinion, I could be wrong here over the next few weeks and few months, is this right here. And it could be choppy, right? We could pull back a little bit and then range sideways as we work our way through here for a little bit before the next liquidity injection comes into the market. Similar to what happened all the way back here from like the 6th of July until like November 2024. It took some time to get out of this level. When we see lower highs and lower lows, unless you have macro patience and you're buying the low, the risk of doing that is you could be catching a falling knife and it could get even lower because we haven't put in a higher high and we haven't seen a trend reversal yet. So currently on the left-hand side of the screen, we haven't seen a trend reversal yet because we haven't cleared roughly $950 billion, which is the high of the 14th of February. So we're still in a downtrend right now. As you guys can see, we've been putting in lower highs since the 9th of December. So there was the high of the rally from December. Then we put in a lower high right here. Then we put in a lower high right here. So we're still at a lower high even with this bullish news from Trump. Now, the real question is if this is the lowest low right here in March at about $750 billion, which simultaneously backtests the previous range high. If that is the lowest low, then the most likely case scenario is we range for a little bit and we just put in higher lows until we see a break of resistance, hold it as support, which would signal the first phase of a trend reversal, which is a higher high than the previous high. So the main high that we need to clear to give me a sign that alt season is coming much sooner than everyone expects is for us to clear $950 billion. So right now we're at $910 billion. If we don't clear $950 billion, just expect this range to play out a little bit longer. That's my thoughts here. But it is a good thing on the RSI that we cleared the high of 14th of February, 47. We're sitting at 55 right now. So I would just expect the RSI to chop within this range right here and then continue higher. And even if we come back down for a double bottom, somewhere around $700-ish billion, that would just be a better entry point, because why would you want to buy into massive pumps and massive rallies like this while we are in oversold conditions or overbought conditions on these key indicators? I mean, look at this massive green candle. Anytime we see massive green candles like this, yes, it gets you all fired up. It gets the blood pumping. I get it. But you need to ground yourself here, okay? Because we've seen this time and time again on the price charts when the RSI gets all the way up here. So on the daily for XRP, it is good that the RSI isn't above 70 or 80 right now, but we are in contact with this descending resistance. So that's something to note, guys. And also, this is why we want to watch total 3 as well too and wait for a clearing of $950 billion as the previous high to give us a sign that we're going to continue higher. Because until then, it's just going to be choppy, and it's going to be like this from what we saw from the low of the 23rd of December on that back test all the way through January, where we saw these massive price swings and dips of 10 to 15% every single day. This guy's Trump on spending cuts. At this stage, getting all this lashback from the left and the media, he's got to be immune at this point and just overall just done with their nonsense.
The spending bill that passed last night aims to cut $2 trillion.
Right.
Can you guarantee that Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security will not be touched?
Yeah, I mean, I have said it so many times, you shouldn't be asking me that question. Okay? This will not be read my lips. There won't be read my lips anymore. We're not going to touch it. Now, we are going to look for fraud. I'm sure you're okay with that, like people that shouldn't be on, people that are illegal aliens and others, criminals in many cases. And that's with Social Security. We have a lot of people. You see that immediately when you see people that are 200 years old that are being sent checks for Social Security. Some of them are actually being sent checks. So we're tracing that down, and I have a feeling that Pam is going to do a very good job with that. But you have a lot of fraud.
And so the Department of Government Efficiency is uncovering that fraud. And there's $154 billion through the Doge clock from the U.S. national debt that they are uncovering that, like he just said, going to people who are over 200 years old. That is ridiculous. So with the Doge dividend, if that goes through, that would be the next major bullish catalyst in the market. Breaking news just hit. Trump will speak at the first ever crypto summit this Friday. Industry leaders, investors, and policymakers will gather to discuss the future of Bitcoin, crypto regulations, and digital asset adoption in the US. This is going to be the turning point for pro-crypto policies.